Let's try that again.
All sorts of stupid things. All right, can't say that. Can't say that. Take 2, take 3, take 5. Okay, what are we talking about? We're talking about Iceland. Okay, ready? And a good spiritual morning to you once again. I'm Father Cosmas. Thanks for joining me today for a quick chat. And of course, our morning cup of coffee. And yes, we're talking about our trip to Iceland, part 2 of the video series, where now we're talking about leaving the city of Reykjavik, going out into the country, exploring God's creation, seeing some beautiful natural wonders. What was your favorite natural wonder to see as we went out of Reykjavik?
My favorite natural wonder was, as our son took us further and further away from the city, I loved the lava fields that had not just black stone or rock, but boulders. I mean, it was beautiful. Right. And as the moss grew on them, it really kind of was a Lord of the Rings experience for me. It was, right. I know we weren't in New Zealand, but it was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So we went about a few hours outside of the city. You drive around, very close by Reykjavik. You can do a loop at the peninsula, and you can see a lot of different things. So we saw lava fields, which were amazing and beautiful. Rock formations, the cliffs.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the name of that first site was where we went, where
beautiful.
There were cliffs.
Yeah.
And it looked like carved columns of stacked stones, but they were made naturally, which was amazing. You guys climbed up to the top. I did not. I stayed down below and I videotaped it. It was beautiful. It was cold, was windy. Yeah. Lots of beautiful things. Again, there's wild sheep running around. There's horses running around. You do have to watch out for the droppings. That's the only thing that you have to watch when you're stepping.
Landmines.
Right. Landmines everywhere. But beautiful, green, very rich, like you're saying, the moss growing on the black lava rocks, the pink moss growing on things, the purple and white flowers growing everywhere, the luvine, is that what it's called?
It was beautiful because everything else is so black and white.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's green, and then there's black, and then there's beautiful colors of these wild flowers growing everywhere. We went out, the next thing we saw was the Black Church, which is this little church out on the shore. It's got cladding, which is all in black, and it was beautiful to see that and look at the ocean. And,
against the horizon.
you looked inside the windows.
Yeah, we were laughing. Obviously, we go to church occasionally, the two of us, and in this small church on the coast, because it was so cold in late June, so imagine what winter is like, they provide these beautiful wool blankets on each pew. And I thought that was, if you want to get people to come to church, you have to make them comfortable. So
yeah, well, I mean, I didn't see a furnace. I doubt there's central heating in there. It's just you walk in and that's it. That's one way to stay awake.
It's a beautiful landmark.
You can stay awake in church. It's 20 degrees inside. So that was beautiful. And in the distance, the ocean's there, the cliffs are there. We got there's a waterfall in the distance. We went and saw the waterfall. You guys climbed up a little bit further than I did. Our sons
and the kids went all the way up.
All the way up, where you could they were drinking out of it, right?
Yeah, it was interesting to see them drink out of the waterfall. But like they said, it's so clean in Iceland, so very clean and natural.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was beautiful. In the distance, you could see a glacier. So you're looking up. It's like, oh, that's a mountain with snow. And my son's like, no, that's a glacier, Dad.
Yeah, that was great.
I mean, I never thought I'd see a glacier in my lifetime. Yeah. So that was amazing and really cool to see. But my favorite thing, since you asked, you didn't ask, but if you would have, my favorite thing to do.
What was your favorite thing on the trip, honey?
My favorite part
in Iceland,
going out into Iceland, and one of the highlights of the whole trip, anywhere we went, honestly, was the hot springs. So our son says, Dad, we got to do the hot springs. So I said, great. And they do it in the city.
Weekly.
Right, all the time. Every day, Icelanders? What do you call the people? The people that live in Iceland.
Yes.
I don't know what you would call them. The native people.
The locals.
The locals go to their local pool.
Yeah.
But their local pool isn't like a normal local pool. It's like a hot spring. It's geothermal. There's constantly water running.
Yeah.
And they take their towels and they just go do hot plunge, cold plunge. So my son says, okay, we got to do that. It's part of the culture. Yeah. You're going to enjoy it. I said, great, let's do it. But let's do it right. If we're going to do it, let's go out into nature and do it. So we went about an hour out of the city. We found a fjord and a place where they do this naturally. So it was kind of neat. It was like a lodge. It was like a little restaurant area with some changing rooms and some showers, and it's on the shore.
Kind of hidden. It was really neat. Yeah.
The North Atlantic Arctic Ocean. So you go there. You're in your bathing suit. You go into the ocean. Right. It's 45 degrees Fahrenheit. It's cold out. Yeah. The ocean's 45 degrees. You come out. And then there's rock formations right there with little pools, naturally, of the hot springs, which are like 80 degrees, 90 degrees, 100 degrees.
Steam coming off, yeah.
And you jump in there for a little bit, you warm up, and then you go back into the ocean, and you go back and forth. And I remember as I was going in, a guy was coming out, and he's like, "That was a religious experience." Like,
it's very shocking.
it is.
And one time when I stayed in the warm, and you had gone back in the ocean. As you came back, you were bright red.
Everyone's bright red.
Yeah, your skin's reacting.
So you do this, and then you finish up. And we went inside, and we sat down. We had some appetizers, and we had a little. So we had some drinks. I was in heaven, of course, because they had my scotch there. They happened to have one scotch, which was a Lagavulin 16. So I had a tiny little bit of scotch. We were sitting there relaxing and talking, and suddenly I realized I was completely relaxed, like completely relaxed, and it sustained itself, that relaxation, that feeling, for like 3 hours. Like there wasn't any tension in my whole body.
It was fantastic.
I don't know what's happening in terms of the chemical processes. Like I know it elevates your dopamine when you do a cold plunge and it sustains it. That's great. You can read about it. But I felt this complete relaxation. And so I sort of thought to myself, wow, is this what I'm supposed to feel like? Because I don't ever feel like this. I'm usually got some tension somewhere. I don't process it. I feel fine. But until you feel complete relaxation, it's amazing to see the difference.
I don't think any of us realize how we're in survival mode or we're in a routine, and we can't live like that anymore. We can't say, I'm going to sustain this level of stress, but next July, I'm going to take a vacation. We've got to figure out how to feel that way more often.
Well, yeah, because I think that was kind of a wake-up call for me to say, okay, if this is how I'm supposed to feel, I don't feel like this regularly, and I feel a sense of tension and stress, and I think we all get into our grind. I think the takeaway for us might be we get into our grind, we're just kind of trugging along, and we just keep going, maybe sometimes until we break, until we can't go anymore. It's like, okay, now I'm in the emergency room, now I should make some changes. You shouldn't wait for that. You should sort of say, okay, I need peace in my life. I shouldn't be stressed in my life. And what can I do to sort of say, I need to find that relaxation? Because if we're giving God praise and giving God glory and giving him our faith and giving him our heart, why can't we give him our stress? Why can't we give him our anxiety and our fear? Why do we hold on to that part? Why are we keeping the worst part?
Yeah, right.
Give him that stuff, right? And say, okay, I'm going to trust in God. And if we have our relationship with Christ and we're building it up through prayer is supposed to be our regular way of detoxing, right? Of finding relaxation, finding peace spiritually. But also we need to find ways in our normal day-to-day life, things that we can do that will bring us joy, that we can say, okay, this gives me some peace. This gives me some relaxation. This helps take away the tension. And I'm not just chugging along, until I break down.
No, we're human, and we need the back and forth. And like you said, also, you've taught us before, the cycle of the day. At the end of the day, why do we go to bed stressed? Why don't we say, God, I had a hard day. Can you please help me? Can you please take it from me? Or can you give me the strength to do better in that?
Right. Giving it up to God on a regular basis. So, I think that was my major takeaway from Iceland. I really enjoyed that hot plunge, cold plunge, the hot springs. It was amazing. And of course, then we left Iceland and talk about going to a different planet. We went to Greece.
Hot. It was
it was 95 degrees and dry and sunny. So we left 50 degrees, in the 40s actually, raining and cold but beautiful. And then with the same day, we were in Greece. We were in Athens. It was 95. It was beautiful. And we'll continue talking about our trip to Greece in the next video and talk about how we felt there and how, once again, we do whatever we can to get closer and closer to Christ, and do that each and every day. Amen.